He begged for this for years. He was told no, again and again. And on a random Sunday night, everything changed, because Von Miller is officially a Dallas Cowboy. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, it really helps this channel grow. Now here's a question for you before we even get started. Have you ever wanted something so badly, watched the door slam shut on you over and over, and then out of nowhere, it just swings wide open? That is exactly what happened to Von Miller this weekend, and Cowboys fans everywhere are still trying to process it. Let's get straight into the facts, because there is a lot to unpack. Von Miller has agreed to terms on a one-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys. This is not a rumor anymore, it is official, and the team itself confirmed it. For those who do not follow the background here, Miller has been publicly campaigning to play for Dallas for a long time now. He has dropped hints on social media, he has talked about coming home, because Miller is actually a Dallas native, born and raised in the DeSoto area, and he played his college ball just down the road at Texas A&M. This is a hometown story in the truest sense. But here is the twist that makes this so surprising. For months, the Cowboys front office had been shutting this idea down. Anytime a reporter brought up Von Miller, the answer was basically the same every time: no interest, no contact, not happening. So for the team to suddenly flip and get this deal done on a Sunday night, with almost no warning, caught a lot of people off guard, including people who cover this team closely every single day. Now, as of right now, the deal is agreed to but not fully finalized on paper, and here is why that matters. The Cowboys have not yet announced a corresponding roster move. In the NFL, when you add a new player to an already full roster, somebody else has to go, whether that means releasing a player outright or placing someone on injured reserve. So we are watching closely to see exactly who gets squeezed out to make room for Miller. That leads directly into the next major story, and it is a big one. This move creates a serious numbers problem in the Cowboys' pass rushing room. Right now, you have Rashawn Gary, Donovan Ezeruaku, and rookie first-round pick Malachi Lawrence, and those three are considered locks for the 53-man roster no matter what. Add Von Miller into that mix, and now you are looking at a group that also includes James Houston, Sam Williams, Marist Liufau, Tyrus Wheat, and Isaiah Land, all fighting for maybe one or two remaining spots. Somebody very talented is going to be left out in the cold when final cuts happen, and that is going to be a genuinely tough conversation inside the building. And there is one more piece of news breaking alongside all of this. According to a well-known NFL insider, the Cowboys are not stopping at pass rush help. They are also exploring cornerback options in free agency, and one specific name is being mentioned as a player to watch: veteran cornerback Adoree Jackson. Jackson has real ties here too, because he played under the Cowboys' new defensive coordinator back when that coordinator was coaching defensive backs in Philadelphia. So there is a real connection, a real reason this name is surfacing right now, and it tells you the Cowboys might not be done adding pieces to this defense. So there you have it, the complete picture in one shot. Von Miller is a Cowboy. The corresponding roster move is still coming. The pass rush room just got a lot more crowded. And cornerback help could be next. That is everything you need to know right up front, but honestly, we are just getting started, because there is so much more to break down here. Let's slow down and really sit with what this Von Miller signing means, because on the surface it looks simple: a 37-year-old pass rusher joining a new team late in his career. But when you dig into the emotional side of this, it hits so much harder. This is a guy who grew up wanting to wear this star on his helmet. He has talked about it publicly. He has posted about coming home. For years, that dream looked completely dead, because the front office kept saying no in interview after interview. Imagine wanting something that badly, being told repeatedly that it is never going to happen, and then getting the call that changes everything. That is the human story sitting underneath all of the roster talk and salary cap numbers. Now let's talk about what Von Miller actually brings on the field, because this is where fans need to be realistic. He is not the same explosive, terrifying pass rusher who once helped Denver win a Super Bowl and earned Super Bowl MVP honors doing it. Those days are behind him. But he is also not washed up. Last season, playing for the Washington Commanders, Miller recorded 9 sacks. That might not sound like a massive number, but context matters here. 9 sacks was actually his best single-season output since 2021, when he had 9.5 sacks split across 2 different teams. Look at the years in between and you see just how up and down his recent career has been. In 2024, he only managed 6 sacks. In 2023, he had 0, completely wiped out by injury. In 2022, he bounced back with 8. So last year with Washington was genuinely a bounce-back campaign, proof that there is still gas left in the tank, even if it is not a full tank anymore. Here is a fair way to think about his role in Dallas. Nobody should expect Von Miller to play every single defensive snap. Nobody should expect him to be a dominant run stopper anymore either. That is just not realistic at his age, and honestly, it would be poor coaching to ask that of him. The smart move, and likely the plan the Cowboys coaching staff already has in mind, is to use him in a focused pass rushing role, bringing him in on passing situations where he can pin his ears back and go get the quarterback. Used the right way, in shorter bursts with fresh legs, Von Miller can absolutely still be a weapon off the edge, especially in big moments late in games. Now here is your question of the day, and I really want to hear from you on this one. Grade this signing like it is a report card, A, B, C, D, or F. Some fans are going to say this is a genius move, adding a future Hall of Famer for pass rush depth without giving up a single draft pick. Other fans are going to say this is a sentimental move that does not actually solve the real problem in that pass rush room. So which is it for you? Drop your letter grade in the comments below, and while you are down there, tell us exactly why you feel that way, because this is the kind of debate that Cowboys fans could argue about for days. Let's shift over to the money side of this deal for a moment, because that matters just as much as the on-field impact. Every report so far says this is a 1-year contract. We do not have the exact dollar figures locked in publicly yet, but here is the important context. Just last week, the Cowboys handed out a massive contract extension to defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, locking him up long-term and clearing away one of their biggest looming financial questions. That move alone freed up meaningful salary cap space. So when you combine that cap flexibility with the fact that Von Miller is likely signing for a modest, team-friendly number given his age and recent injury history, the math actually makes a lot of sense for Dallas. This is not a franchise breaking the bank on a fading star. This looks much more like a smart, low-risk, potentially high-reward addition. Now let's go deeper on that roster crunch we mentioned earlier, because this is going to be one of the most fascinating storylines to track heading into final cuts. Picture the pass rush room as a crowded house with way too many people trying to fit through one door. Rashawn Gary, Donovan Ezeruaku, and Malachi Lawrence are not going anywhere. Think of them as the foundation of that room. Von Miller now joins them as basically a guaranteed roster spot too, given the effort it took to get him here. That leaves a group of genuinely talented players fighting over what might only be 1 or 2 open chairs. James Houston flashed real promise last year and earned himself a strong argument to stick around. Sam Williams is a former high draft pick trying to prove he still belongs, and he has looked sharp deep into the preseason. Marist Liufau is being developed into a new role after starting his career at a different position, which adds even more intrigue to how the coaching staff views him. Then you have Tyrus Wheat and Isaiah Land, both hungry, both fighting for a shot, both facing genuinely long odds now that Miller has entered the picture. Here is something worth thinking about, and it connects to roster building in general. Sometimes a signing like this does not just affect one position group, it can trigger a trade. If the front office decides they simply cannot carry 6 or 7 pass rushers on this roster, do not be shocked if one of these names gets shopped around before final cuts. Teams around the league are always looking for pass rush help, and a package built around a player like James Houston or Sam Williams could realistically bring back a helpful piece at another position of need, maybe along the offensive line, maybe adding depth at safety or receiver. That is how smart front offices operate. They turn a logjam into an opportunity instead of just cutting talent for nothing in return. It also helps to compare this move to something similar the Cowboys did just last year. They brought in an experienced veteran pass rusher to play a specific rotational role off the edge, and that player ended up factoring heavily into the defense across the season, even without starting every single game. Think of Von Miller stepping into that same kind of part-time, high-impact role, a guy who is not out there for every snap, but who shows up in exactly the moments where his experience and instincts matter the most. There is also a milestone angle worth mentioning. Miller enters this season with more career sacks than any other active player in the league, closing in on some legendary names on the all-time sack list. Every quarterback he brings down in a Dallas uniform pushes his legacy even further, and for a fan base that loves history and star power, watching a future first-ballot Hall of Famer chase records while wearing the star adds real excitement to every Sunday. Now let's circle back to that cornerback story, because it deserves a lot more attention than a quick mention. The name being floated is veteran cornerback Adoree Jackson, and the connection here is not random at all. Jackson spent time playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, and during that stretch, his defensive backs coach was the very same coach who now runs the entire Cowboys defense as the new defensive coordinator. That kind of built-in trust and familiarity often matters just as much as raw talent when front offices decide who to pursue in free agency. It also tells you something important about how the Cowboys view their current cornerback depth beyond their clear top options. There is a real sense around the team that behind the starters, some of the younger corners simply have not been given enough live snaps in the preseason to fully prove themselves yet, which makes bringing in an experienced, battle-tested veteran an appealing safety net. On the flip side, the coaching staff does appear confident in their slot cornerback situation, where a younger player has been turning heads with strong preseason performances, giving the Cowboys some peace of mind at least in that specific spot. Before we wrap up, one more thing worth mentioning. Give us your honest, one-word reaction to this Von Miller signing down in the comments. Just one word, that is it. Shocked, thrilled, skeptical, whatever it is, we want to see it. It is always interesting to scroll through and see how split or how united the fan base actually is on a move like this. Stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, this offseason has genuinely been a defensive overhaul for the Dallas Cowboys. Between the Quinnen Williams extension, the continued development of young pass rushers, the exploration of cornerback help through a name like Adoree Jackson, and now landing a former Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Fame pass rusher on a modest one-year deal, this front office is clearly trying to build something serious on that side of the football. Whether Von Miller ends up being a feel-good story that fades quietly into the background, or whether he becomes a genuinely impactful rotational piece that helps this defense get after the quarterback in big moments this season, is something we simply cannot know yet. What we do know is that a guy who spent years publicly wanting this exact opportunity finally got it, and there is something undeniably compelling about watching a hometown story like this play out in real time. So that is everything on the Von Miller signing and everything connected to it. Make sure you drop your letter grade for the deal, answer that question of the day about the cornerback situation, and leave your one-word reaction down in the comments. We will be back soon with more updates as this roster situation continues to develop, so stay locked in.